When you're sharpening your charcoal pencils, you'll notice that it is very messy and it's easily can break. I pick the bigger hole when you're sharpening it, and you just hold it really steady. This will make this is compressed charcoal, and if you have a compressed charcoal stick, it'll also do the trick. I like this because it'll give me a good point. But it'll also make a much more permanent line. It will be, it is erasable, but it's just not as easily smeared and erased. So now if I want to, and you see it breaks, it'll kind of chip. It's very brittle in the sense that it's compressed charcoal. Both are actually easy to break, but this will allow me to start to make some of those darker lines that I want to get. I think I just broke it off pretty good here. Let's see. Now, if you drop your charcoal stick a lot, your charcoal pencil, you can find that you'll have a lot more chance for it to have your lead, this isn't lead, but your tip break off more frequently because you've weakened certain points. So you'll want to pay attention to that. Again, the idea of this assignment is to make this look almost identical to the printout. And a lot of you I know won't print out your copy. You'll just say, I don't have a printer. I just look at it on my computer, and that's gonna be all I can do is kind of tell you that you really will make it a little easier on yourself if you print it out, because then you have this kind of 1-to-1 ratio, and believe it or not, the illumination of those screens can be kind of intense. And you can see even with the 1-to-1 ratio that I have, and I'm a skilled, I do this all the time. This proportion of this is actually a little larger than that over here, but I'm not going to get too fussy. I'm going to urge you. I'm not expecting people to be artists, and that your proportions, you should have no training in this. But this is a way for you to kind of explore some of the materials that I've asked you to get, which are, I feel they're very messy, but they're actually generous when it comes to showing you different qualities of mark making. Yeah, my face is not looking as good as I want it to look, but I'm just going to keep going for now. I'm going to come back. It looks more like a horse to me. This is good, actually, though, for you to kind of see the teacher make the mistakes too of what within the drawing. Because it's a process. It's something that takes a while. I can tell that my snout here is getting too small. Like I said, you see it can erase, but you can still see some of the ghost of the mark that I once made. That's going to be all right though, because we're going to shorten that up actually. I'm just going to come back to that form and try to move on. I always recommend to my drawing class, don't get hung up on just one shape. Go into it and then move around. Once you get a little bit of where you feel like you're starting to show how to represent that form in that area, that space, then move on and start to develop the rest of the space, because ultimately you're looking at an overall, trying to capture more of an overall feeling. The gestalt is what they call it in design, idea of the overall image and composition. So you know, there's the other quality I like about this assignment is that your finished product will look like something that is an unfinished product because of the faded marks and everything that's in there. But this is pretty much what you need to do. You're going to complete the entire page to make it look exactly like the other copy. And then we have another drawing where you're going to be using either, well, really just only the charcoal pencil, no vine charcoal, and a straight up mark making. Van Gogh makes these drawings with ink. And we might end up doing that down the road, but we're first going to do just kind of the different hatching and dots and stippling and different marks that Van Gogh would do in many of his ink studies. So we're going to end up doing both of these two different types of drawings before the week is over. So I say begin with this one first. This is the more messy one, and get this out of the way. It's also give you a little bit of understanding of vine charcoal versus charcoal pencil. And then when you're doing this one, and it doesn't have to be this one. I've got two other Van Gogh drawings that are up on canvas. You can select either one of those or any of the three, and you're just really focusing on line. You're not going to be doing any kind of smearing or values that you would do with this because Van Gogh was dealing with just straight contrast, just kind of the ink in the brush, not really even doing any kind of washes most of the time. It was really relying on the groupings and the patterns that were made from the mark making to kind of convey value as well as texture. So that'll be the other assignment with that. And when you're doing this other assignment, I want you to think of again, you can just start to generalize your composition. So I'm going to kind of pair up, and I could even kind of cheat a little bit and make little marks with where things are kind of lining up. The chimney's going to be somewhere around there, the ladder is somewhere around here, and then my horizon is somewhere over here. So I've already got somewhat of a kind of a plotting the composition here, and then I can just come in and make my mark here. And then, just think about pressure when you're making these. Oh, and I'm using vine charcoal. I want you to use your charcoal pencil. And this will be the big thing with charcoal pencil, since it makes more of a permanent mark. You really want to think about pressure when you're doing these, because this is, you can go back and erase it, but with that big white eraser, it's going to be harder to get some of the smaller marks. So, yeah, again, this is much more of an exercise in line, whereas the other one is a combination of line and value, and using your eraser actually as a mark making tool as well. So go ahead and have fun this week with actually doing some drawing exercises. We'll still have image research to do, but that's always kind of just something fuel for the fire when it comes to drawing. So have fun.